So I've never had a plan. I've had a belief, a work ethic that I couldn't switch off if I tried, and an absolute refusal to stay somewhere that no longer fits me. But a plan, not really. I left school at 16 and I went straight into work. I worked for a company that promoted from within, and I loved that because I've always wanted more responsibility, not less. More challenge, more to get my teeth into, and I've always wanted to understand how everything worked and be really good at it. And this might sound untrue, but it never really felt hard for me to progress in my roles. And I think that's what a real work ethic feels like. Not grinding reluctantly through something, but genuinely wanting to work hard and do something to the best of your ability. By 25, I was a finance manager, so that was stable, successful, completely in control. And then I sat at my desk one day and I looked at the team that I'd built and the systems that were running perfectly, and I thought to myself, is this it? And that wasn't because it wasn't good, because it was, but I'm just not someone who is built for clockwork. I'm built for, okay, what's next? I'd always loved acting and I'd done it all through school, but I never thought that I could pursue that as a career. But at that point in my life, something had changed in me. I walked away from nearly a decade in a career and I went to drama school. My partner and I moved from Manchester to London, and that was way harder than I expected. Not the work, but the environment. I was one of the only Northerners and I felt it. And that quiet awareness of being slightly out of place, it definitely knocked my confidence. And I'll say that plainly because I think it matters. I was on a 1-year foundation course with a view to a 3-year program, and I failed the audition. Left after that 1-year course, I got myself an agent and I got into the industry anyway. If a path closes, I don't stand staring at it, I find the next way through. And that's how I've always been. For years, a number of years, I moved between acting and accountancy. Back to finance to earn money, and then back to auditions, and then back again. I then had what I now call my full Sylvester Stallone moment, which, you know, the story where no one would give him a role he wanted, so he wrote Rocky for himself. I wasn't getting the roles that I wanted as an actor, and so I decided that I needed to learn how to make a short film for myself. I was going to go to university, learn the craft, and then I was going to go back to acting. So at 39, I enrolled in a full-time independent filmmaking degree. I walked in and I was significantly older than almost everyone else in the room, and I felt it. I felt that same familiar awareness, just like drama school, of not matching who was supposed to be there. I'd already lived through the version of the story where I let it knock my confidence. I was not going to do that again. So I just got on with it. I changed my mindset, and then I did something that I hadn't planned for. I fell completely in love with directing. Being behind the camera changed everything for me, and it was at that point I realised that I didn't want to go back to acting. After I left uni, I became a runner in the industry, so I was right back to the bottom. I spent about 3 years learning how professional sets actually work, because I like to learn every layer of a process. That's how I've always operated. I think knowledge is power and understanding everything is a must. So nothing humbles you faster than studying cinematic storytelling and then finding yourself filming John from operations. But here's the thing about John. John was actually fascinating. And the moment I stopped looking for the cinematic story and started listening to the human one, I couldn't stop because behind every business, there's always people who have the most interesting stories. And that's where Kollab Kreate was born. We are a founder story film studio, and we're built on one belief. Your story is not separate from your business. It is the business. People don't buy products anymore. They buy perspective, they buy values, they buy belief. They buy the person behind the thing and whether that person makes them feel something. I care so deeply about getting a founder's story right. It's all about honouring the journey it took to get there. It's about making something that actually reflects who they are and what they've built. And every film I direct, I give everything to. That's not a selling point, that's just how I work. I work with all founders, but I absolutely love to work with female founders and female business leaders because I get so inspired by women who just go for it. Women who don't have all the answers, but they move anyway. Women who back themselves quietly and find a way. I don't think we see enough of those stories, and it's not because those women don't exist. They're everywhere, but because some women are still scared to tell their stories. They're scared that admitting uncertainty makes them look less credible, scared that the real, non-linear, occasionally terrifying truth of building something will be used against them. Then you have the other side of the coin, confident women. They can be reluctant for fear of being misunderstood. Confidence is built brick by brick. I know that because I've lived it. I've walked into rooms where I didn't fit, failed the audition that I moved cities for. I've spent years between two worlds wondering when it would come together. I love to see a confident woman in her power. I will genuinely applaud her because I know what it cost her to get there. And when I see a woman standing fully in who she is, I feel inspired. And when a woman sees another woman who has started again, who changed directions, it doesn't just inspire other women, it tells other women that they're allowed to. Every version of me mattered. The 16-year-old who went straight into work, the finance manager who got bored of her own success, the northerner who moved to London who didn't fit in and got herself an agent anyway, the 39-year-old who walked into a room full of people half her age and cracked on. It was all preparing me for this. If you're a founder sitting on a story that you haven't told yet, stop waiting until you feel ready. Stop making yourself easier to ignore. Your story is not a distraction from your work. It's your most powerful asset, so stop hiding it.